If 0 to 3 is important, then is preschool also important? And the answer is a resounding yes. Children need to build on their good foundation. Preschool is essential. They need at least 2 years of preschool education. And it does not have to be full day. We have a lot of research which shows us that half-day preschool, so you can have 2 turns, children in the morning, children in the afternoon, that they will get about as much as they're going to get out of it in terms of developmental status. Now, they may need childcare the whole day, but half-day preschool, because the mother is working, but half-day preschool is sufficient. But not less than that, and not less than a full year, and not only 150 hours. There has to be a full day, that is to say, a full number of days for them to benefit. What are the benefits of preschool education? It helps to achieve full child rights, and according to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, it teaches parents their rights and responsibilities. It strengthens the role of parents in rearing and developing their children and helps children develop their potential in all areas. The short-term preschool impacts are improved language learning and early literacy in primary school, improved development of the mind, of cognitive development, leading to higher achievement in school. There are many studies showing this. Preschool results are greater for children who are from poor and marginalized families. They are the ones who benefit the most from preschool education, although all children should have it. So we want universal services with strong outreach to access and ensure that the children who most need preschool go to preschool. And it improves parenting knowledge, skills, and behaviors if parent education is included. Medium-term impacts are very important on the school system. It includes the increased internal efficiency of the school system. This has been shown over and over. That improves learning achievement of children in preschool, in primary school, reduced dropout rates, increased primary school completion, fewer repetitions, greater continuation to secondary and tertiary levels. Inclusive preschool education of high quality also yields higher achievement for children with disabilities and delays, as well as children with typical development. So it becomes very important to have inclusive preschool education for both well-developing children as well as children with special needs. And it results in reduced costs for special education because more children are well-developed. Long-term impacts, according to the, for example, Abecedarian study in the United States, where they did a full array, actually from very early ages with the children 6 months of age through preschool, had far greater impacts at 8 years and 12 years of age and 15 years of age and even 21 years of age over children who went to primary school alone. And I'll show you a form of this. Primary only is the blue. These are children in the blue. And these are 8 years, 12 years, 15 years, and 21 years. The children who receive 0 to 5 home visits and preschool education only are in the yellow. The children who received both are in the green. And as you can see, it is best if you have 0 to 5 home visits and primary education for ensuring that children will develop well. So our green lines are the most important to us. Health and nutrition services are often included in preschool education, and I believe they are usually in our plans for preschool education in Bosnia. There are short-term impacts of increased and immediate savings from health and education, health and care services that are provided for children. There are expanded savings achieved by assisting marginalized groups to access health services, especially prenatal services. And there are fewer developmental disabilities when doctors and nurses conduct early screenings and refer children to special services at an appropriate early time. Many children overcome initial delays. Health and nutrition have medium-term impacts of reduced rehabilitation and treatment costs for school-aged children, less need for special education in primary school and secondary school, reduced need for nutritional rehabilitation services and feeding services in primary schools because the children and the parents now have a better diet, and lower health care costs during primary school. Some long-term impacts are improved health and nutrition as adults, lower lifetime costs to the health system as a whole, reduced numbers of teenage pregnancies, and lower later age of initial pregnancy. Mothers are older at the birth of the first child, which is often a help as well. Protection and safety, short, medium, and long-term impacts I brought together. Lowered rates of child abuse and neglect, and we are concerned here about child abuse and neglect. In all post-conflict societies, there is a higher rate of abuse and neglect in children than in non-conflict societies. We have to accept that this is the situation that we have and realize that having good early childhood and preschool education is going to help to overcome this problem that we are facing now. We have to start at the beginning. You can't just be remediating in costly treatment services. Then reduce child welfare and child protection services result, and this is due in part to parent education and other interventions. There's less crime and community violence, lowered costs for the justice system, for prisons, for police, and there are few injuries to children, and there's far greater child safety. Economic development is improved in terms of short-term impacts. The increased number of mothers are able to work outside the home, leading to productivity in society. Expanded number of women as they enter the workforce need the child care and development services, and preschools usually increase as women go into the labor force. We are yet to see that here, but it's going to happen right away, I know that. Then we will have an expanded labor force in child care, in child development, new jobs, more opportunities for people to work productively in the development of children. There's a study in California that shows that childcare has become the largest industry in the state of California in the United States. This happens in many countries where childcare becomes a large industry. This is the work that has been done by James Heckman, a Nobel laureate, and this comes from 2007. And here you can see the return on investment is highest up here. I'm just going to do this very simply. 0 to 3 gives us the greatest return on investment, a slightly lower return on investment from preschool education, and schooling lower, and job training the lowest. What it means is we need to start here. All the rest is necessary, but we need to start here, and that's what we need to put in place fully inside of Bosnia. Economic development, medium to long-term impacts include a very high level of return on investment. It is usually said that it's from 3 to 17 BOM for each BOM invested. Here in Bosnia, we don't know what it's going to be, but my bet is that it will be at least 8 or 9 BOM per BOM invested because of the level of poverty that we have. I think it will be quite high. It could be higher once we do studies over the longer term. Across the studies, more or less, people think that it's around 8 that is averaged. Medium to long term, we know that there are expanded opportunities, especially for children living in poverty and who tend to gain the most from these services. There is reduced poverty, marginalization, disparities of child development, and there's increased national productivity and competitiveness. With regard to medium and long term, reduced social welfare budgets, which is a big worry to us here, and expanded citizen contribution to the nation. Children do not receive early childhood services. What may happen to them? If a child lives in poverty, they're going to be lower in their development. They may become delayed, malnourished, chronically ill, even disabled. If a family is marginalized, the child learns very early on in their first months and years of life that they have a lower status and they have a poor self-image, and they tends to be a Pygmalion effect. They continue thinking poorly of themselves. Also, those children tend to suffer from toxic stress. This is a very interesting slide. This is a child who is normal. Down the lower one is a child under toxic stress. And here you can see very clearly that the child with typical development up there has good connections, and this is a neuron chain which is very damaged and has fewer connections. And this is what happens when they're under stress, and we have a lot of those children, unfortunately, in the country. So if they don't receive the services, these children will be unprepared for primary school, may be abused and neglected, and will have difficulty forming lasting, loving relationships. These are very, very sad things. What are the implications of this evidence for Bosnia? It tells us we need to update our work on preschool strategies and ensure they have good guidance for the schedule and number of days of preschool per year for children 4 and 5 years of age. Basically, this would mean a half day at least for children at 4 and at 5, and at 5 would be compulsory. Targets for expanding preschool enrollment should be set for each year from 2012 to 2020 until at least 70% of the children receive at least 2 years of preschool education. And we can do that, we can do the projections, and we can move ahead. We need to ensure a strong transition plan is developed to prepare children and parents for success in primary school. And Pia Revelo Brito is going to give you what I'm sure will be an excellent presentation on the importance of transition in the development of children. We need to go to scale with preschool education. We need to ensure that at entity and cantonal levels, those ministries in the Federation, cantonal, greatly expand their investment in early childhood care and education, and they need to reallocate funds as necessary to do this. Other countries can do it, we can do it too. Our municipal councils need to devote at least 5% of municipal budgets to early childhood services, including preschool. I'm doing a little study on this. In Serbia right now, it's averaging around 9% of the annual budgets of Serbian municipalities is given to early childhood care and education services. We can do that too. We need to develop a quality assurance system where we have standards, guidelines, curriculum, materials, pre- and in-service training, monitoring, evaluation, and supervision all together, fitting in beautifully and helping to ensure we have the highest possible quality preschool services. We have a lot of really good ones. We need to do much more. We also need to ensure that within the strategic plan for the Federation, the strategic plan for early childhood in Republika Srpska, that we establish universal ECD service and personnel standards and regulations and certification for early services 0 to 3 and for preschool education and preschools of all types. We need to implement informal preschool activities with children and parents together through our integrated early childhood development centers, and ensure that those activities go forward as we expand formal preschool activities for the children. Because by working with the parents, with the children every day, or very frequently, you can have the parents do a lot of the preschool activities in their homes in play groups. And so the activities are really provided to the children. But until we get the preschools in place, we have to really work hard on doing that. And then expand and improve pre- and in-service teacher training. We need to train more teachers and caregivers of children from 0 to 3 and for preschool teachers from 3 to 6. That means each of you has to begin conducting policy advocacy for integrated early childhood development and preschool education. We have many wonderful champions in the room from Republika Srpska and from the Federation, great people who have moved forward in this field, and I know that we can do it. We also need to develop a media campaign for parents about the evidence and the benefits of preschool education, and I am delighted to know that UNICEF is going to help to ensure that we do that throughout the country to support the work. But most of all, it is your dedication, it is your vision, it's your work and your passion that will lead to the improvement of the children in the country. And I know that you're going to do it, and I'm right there beside you to make it all possible. So I thank you very much for this opportunity to present these ideas to you, and if you have any questions, I'd be delighted to answer them later on.